Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we got another UFC preview and predictions. Here on the channel, the main event, Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. And also we got El Kakui coming back to take on Charles Oliveira. But before I get started in today's episode, the style and the format of how we do these videos are going to be a little bit different. Obviously before we were using a lot of footage here on the channel of all the different fighters. Right now I'm trying to get the copyright issues solved. So for the rest of 2020, for this card on this Saturday night, and then for the Wonder Boy Jeff Neal card, we're going to switch it up a little bit. We're going to be using more graphics, and then into 2020 I'll have time to figure things out. So when we go back to Abu Dhabi for Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar, hopefully I can have some sort of mixture of graphics and hopefully some video and film as well. So just want to let you guys know about that, and yeah, let's get straight into the video. Folks, if you have not yet though, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below for more UFC here on the channel. But again, for all of you who have watched here on the channel before, if you like the graphics, just let me know. If you don't like them, hey, let me know too. I can work on stuff as well. So we're gonna start off here on the prelims. The first fight on this card is Chase Hooper and Slippery Pete Barrett. Unfortunately, a lot of fights have fallen out on this card. I think we had 13 to start the week. Now we have 10, so that's real unfortunate. Hopefully no more of these gets canceled. I know the Kevin Holland, Jacare Souza fight is supposed to be on, even though Kevin Holland did test positive last week, so hopefully that stays on too. But all right, yeah, let's get into Chase Hooper here and Pete Barrett. Whoa, we got the new graphic on the screen right there. Let's start here with Pete Barrett. And yeah, so Pete Barrett's last fight, he fought Youssef Zalal, his first fight in the UFC, and Youssef Zalal, again, a very tough out. Did lose recently though to Ilia Topuria, who did look good last night or on Saturday on the fight night against Damon Jackson. Looked really good with that knockout over there. But yeah, again, no shame losing to Youssef Zalal. That was Pete Barrett's first fight in the UFC. I believe it was somewhat of a short notice. Yeah, he's supposed to fight Steve Garcia on that card, and then in came Youssef Zalal. So again, very hard to do with that. And then before that, for Slippery Pete, he did win on the Contender Series to beat Sang Hoon Yo by unanimous decision to get his contract in the UFC. And then before that, he fought in Cage Titans, a promotion I do believe in the Northeast Massachusetts area. That's where Slippery Pete Barrett is from. So yeah, fighting out of Plymouth, Massachusetts, over a record for Pete Barrett of 11 wins and 4 losses. And yeah, obviously for Pete Barrett, of course, you got the striking. He's a very good striker. Most of his wins are by KO. Also not bad on the ground, but for Slippery Pete, his main objective into winning this fight is going to be using his striking, because we know how good Chase Hooper's grappling is. We know how good it is. And we're going to talk about Chase Hooper in just a second. But yeah, of course, Pete Barrett, I think he's got to keep the fight standing. We saw what Alex Caceres was able to do to Chase Hooper when he could stuff the takedown. Yes, Alex Caceres did get taken down a couple times in that fight against Chase Hooper and put himself in a lot of bad situations. I mean, he gave Chase Hooper's arm multiple times in that fight, but Pete Barrett can keep it standing, right? Avoid the takedown. He's going to have a really good shot. And yes, it's very hard to put away Chase Hooper because Alex Caceres unloaded some bombs on Chase Hooper, and Hooper did not quit. But Pete Barrett, if he can outstrike him the entire fight, he's going to have a really good chance. But the main thing, you got to stuff the takedowns. You know, real quick, something else about Pete Barrett. He fought a guy in Cage Titans like a year ago. The dude's name is Jay Ellis. All right, this dude, Jay Ellis, has a record of, get this, 15 wins and 93 losses. Okay, I mean, just want to put that out there. Again, it was a long time ago. It was actually 2018 Cage Titans, whatever. Pete Barrett took his bat back in the first minute. And yeah, beat him, but just something to point out there. So yeah, again, that's Pete Barrett. Let's now go on to Chase Hooper. All right, so next up, we have got Ben Askren's son here in Chase Hooper. Ariel Helwani actually thought for a second that Chase Hooper was Ben Askren's son. I don't know, don't get me started on that one. But yeah, so Chase Hooper's last fight, he did lose to Alex Caceres, and I talked about that fight earlier, right? Because Alex Caceres, I mean, he's a pretty good fighter. Alex Caceres has had a lot of fights in the UFC, 17-12 at this point. He's actually on a 3-fight winning streak, so good for Alex Caceres. But yeah, in that fight, right, Alex Caceres was dominating on the feet, as you probably would have expected. Because, again, Chase Hooper, very good on the ground. His stand-up game, not great. And in that fight, right, Alex Caceres was just unloading bombs, and Chase Hooper just stood there, and damn does Chase Hooper have a chin. He really does. So it's something to note there, because, again, if Slippery Pete is going to try to go out there and try to swing for the fences and try to knock out Chase Hooper. I don't think it's going to happen because Chase Hooper can take a punch. And we saw in the Alex Caceres fight that even when he was down 2 rounds to nothing, I do believe, going to the third, right? And still, he was getting beat up and he was still walking forward, still trying to push Alex Caceres back into the fence, still trying to work those takedowns, trying to bring him down to the mat. And again, a couple times in that fight, he had a chance of submitting Alex Caceres. So there's a definite chance, man, that happens, right? Now, I don't think Chase Hooper is going to get in that much damage in this fight to the point where he's in so much trouble he needs to get a takedown or else he's, going to lose the fight on points. I don't think it's going to get there, but it's just something to know. If it's needed, he can do so, right? And then before the Alex Caceres fight, he had a good win. He won by TKO's ground pound on UFC 245, Covington Usman against Daniel Tamor. He won that one in the first round, used his wrestling, got the fight to the ground, won with ground and pound. And yeah, before that, man, he won on a big 8-fight winning streak. So now he has the record of 9 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. Obviously, the loss is to Alex Caceres. Nothing against that. But yeah, I mean, we know Chase Hooper, the wrestling is very good. That's why people compare him to Ben Askren. Yes, it's because he kind of looks like Ben Askren, but again, his wrestling is so damn good. His jiu-jitsu is so good as well. So we've got Chase Hooper here and Pete Barrett. As for a prediction, I gotta go Chase Hooper here. My main thing for that is Pete Barrett. If you look his main losses, I mean, so 2 out of his last 3 losses, 1 to Youssef Zalal, and yes, Youssef Zalal is just good everywhere, so I'm just gonna give him a pass on that. And it's a short notice fight, and taking a fight against Youssef Zalal on very short notice is tough. So we're gonna get rid of that one. But his fights in Cage Titans. So before coming to UFC, Pete Barrett fought twice. His last fight before going to the UFC, won the Contender, right? Before that, won in Cage Titans, and then he lost to Connor Berry, a fighter who was 4-2 at the time in Cage Titans, now 6-3. So that fight was, I do believe, in 2019. It was in 2018, but still, he got tapped down the first round by armbar. The fight before that was the 15-90 dude, Jay Ellis. And then before that, he fought TJ Brown. And you might know TJ Brown from the UFC. Obviously, he is now fighting in the promotion as well. He is 0-2, but still, he lost to TJ Brown by submission. He lost by arm triangle in the 3rd round. Again, this was 2017. We just gotta question it, right? So I think Chase Hooper gonna be able to use his wrestling to his advantage, gonna be able to use the jiu-jitsu to his advantage as well. So we're gonna go with the Chase Hooper. I'm gonna say he beats him by submission. We're gonna go Chase Hooper submission win. So this one is another styles fight. We got Jared Vanderaa taking on Sergey Spivak. All right, let's start here with Jared Vanderaa, the UFC newcomer. It's his first ever fight in the UFC. He came from the Contender Series. He won his fight there by ground and pound in the first round. That was about a month ago. That was on the 4th of November. And yeah, he got the job done in the first round, got his UFC contract as well on that card. He was the opener on that Dana White's Contender Series card. And before that, he came from LFA. He fought over there a couple times. He challenged for the LFA heavyweight championship against Richard Odoms. A pretty good fight. Again, if we were showing footage, I probably would be showing this fight right here. But yeah, go watch it. It's free on YouTube. It's a pretty good fight. Odoms, though, gets some in the final round with the Kimura to win the LFA championship. So Jared didn't ever win the LFA title. And then he also fought in Smash Global, so another promotion overseas. And yeah, that was his last win before going in the UFC. He beat Tony Lopez on Smash by unanimous decision. Obviously, Tony Lopez has fought like everyone. He's 64-32. He's been in the independent promotions for seems forever now. Yeah, for Vanderaa, right? He's a really good striker. Again, most of his wins are by TKO or KO. But if you look at his losses, man, his losses are all by submission, except for a couple. I mean, okay, I would say over half of his losses are by submission. And yeah, I mean, the Richard Odoms fight just go watch that fight. It was on LFA for the heavyweight title. And yeah, I mean, he just gets caught in I guess they call it a key lock. It looked like a Kimura. Like they're pressed up against the cage, and Odoms catches him with a big Kimura, turns him over and wins the fight. And yeah, Richard Odoms is a fighter who at the time I think he was 44. Yeah, pretty old. But hey, he won the LFA title, so what can you say? Yeah, the problem with Vanderaa, right? His main losses are by submission, and Sergey Spivak is a very good wrestler and a very good grappler. So that's my problem with that, and that's basically all we got here on Jared Vanderaa. Let's talk about his opponent here, Sergey Spivak. By the way, Vanderaa record of 11-4. So the heavyweight Sergey Spivak, his last fight in the UFC was a good win over Carlos Felipe. Won that one by majority decision over on Figueiredo and Benavidez number 2. It's a pretty good win there. Felipe thought he won the fight, but I thought Spivak won that one pretty decisively. And then before that, he fought Marcin Tybura earlier in the year. He did lose that fight by unanimous decision on Benavidez, and Figueiredo won. So I don't know what's up with Sergey Spivak always fighting on Divas and Figueiredo cards. I don't know what's up with that, but that's cool. And then before that, I mean, the coming out party for Sergey Spivak was the win over Tai Tuivasa. Because he came to the UFC, right? He was, he was the former WWFC champion, and comes to the UFC, fights Walt Harris, loses in about a minute, but then he comes in, he fights on a main card of a UFC pay-per-view, UFC 243. He was a big underdog in that fight against Tai Tuivasa. Tai Tuivasa fighting in Australia. And then Spivak, man, got the job done, took him down, got him with the arm triangle choke. It was a really big win for Sergey. Obviously, Tai Tuivasa ended up getting cut from the UFC, and then coming back, he beat Stefan Struve. But, so, I mean, the record in the UFC is 2-2 for Sergey Spivak, but if you look at the competition he's faced, Walt Harris is a top 10 fighter. Tai Tuivasa, I mean, top 20. He's been in and out of the top 15, even actually the top 10 in years prior. Marcin Tybura, I believe, is at number 15 right now. And Carlos Felipe, well, yeah, it's Carlos Felipe. But, hey, he does have a win most recently over Yorgan De Castro. He's going to fight Justin Tafa on the Holloway and Calvin Kattar card in January. So there's that. But, I mean, Sergey Spivak, again, the wrestling and the grappling is where he's going to win this fight. And then for Vanderaa, it's going to be the striking. But I just think Spivak, it's going to be kind of the way we saw in the Tai Tuivasa fight, we saw in the Carlos Felipe fight. Two guys who are very good strikers, right? In Tai Tuivasa and in Carlos Felipe. But Spivak's wrestling's too much, his grappling's too much. He's going to take the fight to the ground. And I think he'll probably end up finishing Jared Vanderaa by submission. I think he probably will. And yeah, I mean, Spivak's been fighting for a while, too. He's been fighting since 2014. He also has a win over Tony Lopez as well, and also over Travis Fulton. So if you don't know who Travis Fulton is, he has had 300 pro fights. Yeah, no, this is a real thing. The dude has had 300 fights. Basically, I think he just fought like 5 times a night, like in 2002. But yeah, I mean, that's a thing. But yeah, I mean, the dude, go look him up. Travis Fulton, over a record of 257, 55 losses, and 10 draws. And Sergey Spivak beat him. So again, just going off right there. But yeah, I think Spivak gets the job done here. I think he wins by submission. I think he takes the fight to the ground, and I think he'll win this one. So we're going to Sergey Spivak. I'll say second round sub. Now this is going to be a good one. We have got Billy Quarantillo taking on Gavin Tucker. Let's start here with Gavin Tucker. So his last fight, he did beat Justin James by rear naked choke on Lewis and Olynyk earlier in the year in Vegas. Obviously, Justin James just lost to Gabriel Benitez, but still, pretty good win right there for Gavin Tucker. He took back in the third round and won that fight. And then before that, on UFC 240 over in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, he did beat Sungwoo Choi by rear naked choke as well. His only loss in the UFC so far is to Rick Glenn. He lost that one by unanimous decision, again in Canada, on Nunez Shevchenko in UFC 215, and then his first fight in the UFC beat Sam Sicilia by unanimous decision over in Halifax, Nova Scotia, on the Lewis and Travis Brown card. And Gavin Tucker, man, really good on the ground, but also his stand-up game is very underrated too. Yes, he hasn't gotten a finish on the feet so far in the UFC, but you know, he's really good. He's really underrated standing. Again, you want to go to his grappling because, you know, his last 2 fights did both end by rear naked choke. I mean, his last fight did get a performance bonus for that submission, but still, do not sleep on the stand-up game for Gavin Tucker. Obviously, he's fighting a guy who's got really good, stand-up game as well in Billy Quarantillo, but still, you know, you can't sleep on that Gavin Tucker stand-up game. And yeah, for overall record for Gavin Tucker of 12 wins and 1 loss. The UFC record for him is 3-1. Obviously, the 1 loss to Rick Glenn on UFC 215 is that 1 loss. And yeah, I mean, I brought it up, I think, in the Justin James fight. The Justin James fight for Gavin Tucker was his first fight not in Canada. But I mean, he won. I mean, that doesn't really mean much. But yeah, he won. He's undefeated in the U.S. There you go. So that's Gavin Tucker. Let's talk about his opponent in Billy Quarantillo. And man, Billy Quarantillo, man, been fighting really good in the UFC, especially the last 3 fights. I mean, we got the Kyle Nelson win on Watterson Hill in Vegas. Won that fight by KO in the 3rd round. Really big win right there. And then the Spike Carlisle fight, I believe it was pretty short notice for him too. It was at 150 catch weight. Really fun fight on Woodley and Burns. And he got the win. He beat Spike Carlisle in that one. And then his first fight in the UFC beat Jacob Kilburn. Won that one by triangle choke over in DC on Overeem Rozenstruik. And then he got in the UFC by winning on the Contender Series. Won by TKO there in 2019. And yeah, Billy Quarantillo will get finishes. I mean, his only fight that didn't end in a finish, except for the Spike Carlisle fight, was in 2016. So I mean, that was the last time one of his fights didn't end in finish. And then also he beat Kama Worthy over in 2015 in Virginia. He won that fight by TKO back then. Again, it's a long time ago. Kama Worthy's a different fighter now, way different. But yeah, I mean, did lose to Otman Ozai Tower, by the way, though. But yeah, Billy Quarantillo, man, over record of 15-2. He's like very good. Obviously, he did come, or he did originally make his way to the UFC by fighting on The Ultimate Fighter on Conor versus Faber. He didn't get the call to go and fight on the finale show. I don't remember what happened on that one. I just think he just didn't get the offer. And he went back, fought elsewhere, fought in New York a lot, and then of course finally got the shot in the UFC, and he's made the best of it, because Billy Quarantillo has been fighting really good. A lot of people are very high on Billy Quarantillo, and I am too. But the problem is, this Gavin Tucker fight is very hard to call. I believe Billy Quarantillo is the favorite in this one, as he should be, but Gavin Tucker is very good in there as well. It is a very fun fight. But yeah, I mean, I think Gavin Tucker definitely has a very good chance because his ground game is very good. I mean, but hey, Billy Quarantillo's ground game is good too. And I think Billy Quarantillo can hang with Gavin Tucker on the ground. He might even have a better ground game than Gavin Tucker. And I think his stand-up game is better than Gavin Tucker as well. So I think Billy Quarantillo's got this one. I think he's going to TKO him. We're going 3 finishes off the bat. I think last week I had like 8 decisions. And that, of course, didn't happen. So hey, going to keep the KO or the finish train going. So we're gonna go with a TKO finish for Billy Quarantillo. And real quick, Angela Hill was supposed to fight Tecia Torres right now. It was supposed to be in the spot of the video. I don't know if that fight's going to get rescheduled or not. Some websites still have it as Tecia Torres versus TBD. So if Tecia Torres does get an opponent later on in the week, check the comment sections down below. I will have my prediction on that fight. Or maybe Tecia Torres does go fight Angela Hill later, or maybe next year, I think, on Fight Island. I think that's more likely. So, hey, we'll just have to wait and see. But if Tecia does end up getting a new fight, I will put that one in the comment sections down below. Oh man, what a fight we got here. I mean, this one is going to be fun to watch on the ground. We've got Virna Jandiroba taking on Mackenzie Dern, 2 really good grapplers. And yeah, let's start here with Virna Jandiroba. So her last fight on UFC 252, that was Cormier Miocic number 3. And, you know, Felice Herrig, she fought. And Felice Herrig coming into that fight was the number 15 strawweight in the world. Virna Jandiroba came in there, took her down immediately, got her with the R-bar a minute in. And I guess Felice Herrig is kind of good on the ground. I mean, that's where she's gotten most of her wins in the UFC, if not by decision, or I guess in her career. I mean, I guess she only has 1 or 2 wins by submission in the UFC, but still, I mean, I guess, yeah, I mean, that's a good win because Felice Herrig has kind of gone to her ground game most of the time in her UFC career, and Jandiroba just took her down and finished the fight real quick. And before that, she fought Mallory Martin, most recently got a win against Hannah Cyphers over on Smith Rakic over in August. And it was a good win for Jandiroba as well. Took her down, got her with her naked choke on Overeem Rozenstruik over in Washington, D.C. And then her first fight in the UFC was against Carla Esparza. She did lose that fight, though, by unanimous decision. That was on Jacare Hermanson over in Florida. And yeah, it was a tough fight for Virna Jandiroba. Obviously, they gave her that fight because she was the Invicta strawweight champion. She won that thing from Mizuki Inoue, another UFC fighter in the UFC. And yeah, I mean, Carla Esparza, though, did win the fight. She grinded it out for a decision victory. But I mean, again, Carla Esparza, former champion. She's a top 5 fighter right now in the weight class. But if you look at Virna Jandiroba, she has 0 wins by TKOs, but 13 by submission and 3 by decision. I mean, that just shows you. Like, Virna Jandiroba goes for the finish, and it's going to be by submission. But the main problem is, she's fighting Mackenzie Dern. And I don't think anyone can really match Mackenzie Dern's ground game. I mean, I'm sure there's a select few. I mean, I would say maybe, I don't know, at 135 you got Amanda, and I would definitely say at 125 to Valentina, who I mean, very underrated ground game. I know she got taken down by Jennifer Maia, but still, Valentina's ground game is very good. And, yeah, so let's talk about Mackenzie Dern. So Mackenzie Dern, obviously, we know the ground game is great, and you see right there, 6 wins by submission, and 0 by TKO and 3 by decision. I mean, duh. The ground game is great for Mackenzie Dern. And, like, my main question in this one is Virna Jandiroba's ground game good enough to beat Mackenzie Dern, or is her takedown defense that good that it can stop Mackenzie Dern and she can make it a striking fight? Because, man, if we get we could get a scenario, man, like Colby Covington and Kamaru Usman, 2 really good grapplers, but they cancel each other out, and we're going to get a striking fight. Now, will we see that? I doubt it. Mackenzie Dern's last fight against Randa Marcos, I don't know what Randa Marcos was doing. I mean, she tried to take the fight to the ground, and she just got caught in an armbar. I don't know what she was doing, but I don't think Virna Jandiroba is going to make that mistake, or if Virna Jandiroba wants to take this one to the ground, I think she's going to feel confident enough where she can beat Mackenzie Dern on the ground. So it's going to be an interesting fight here. I really just don't know what to expect because the two of them are very good on the ground. Their stand-up game, we just don't know much about. So it's a very interesting one. Mackenzie Dern over a record of 9-1. UFC career goes like this. First win, split decision win against Ashley Yoder. Second one, submission win against Amanda Cooper. Next, lost to Amanda Hebus by unanimous decision. Then beat Hannah Cyphers by knee bar. And then most recently beat Randa Marcos. It's a really tough fight to call, and I know the big favorite in this one will probably be Mackenzie Dern, just because of the name value. A lot of people know who Mackenzie Dern is. Now, I just don't know. It's one of the hardest ones on the card. I mean, Virna Jandiroba is 16-1. Yes, given maybe she hasn't fought the levels of competition Mackenzie Dern has fought in her career, but she's fought some pretty good fighters, man. Jandiroba is the former champion over there in Invicta, so it's a tough one to call. Kind of like the Quarantillo and Gavin Tucker fight. Like, I feel like a lot of people aren't giving the underdogs enough credit in that one, but I'm gonna go with Mackenzie Dern. I still think Dern's got the advantage in this one. The big narrative for me, though, is if it stays on the feet, I don't know. I mean, that's gonna be a wild fight. I kind of want to see it happen, though. These two just standing for the entire time. It's not gonna happen. It's gonna hit the mat. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Mackenzie Dern. Gonna go by decision. I just think Jandiroba is too good to the point where she's not gonna be finished on the ground, but I think Dern's gonna be able to control her on the ground. So yeah, that's why I think we're gonna get a decision win for Mackenzie Dern. Now, another interesting fight here. We've got Daniel Pineda taking on Cub Swanson. Let's start here with Daniel Pineda, right? So Daniel Pineda's last fight, it wasn't his UFC debut, but he was off for a while. He went to Bellator, went to Legacy, and went to PFL. And came back and beat Herbert Burns by TKO. Over on UFC 252, Miocic, Cormier 3, a very good win for Daniel Pineda. Herbert Burns missed weight in that fight and it didn't matter. Pineda still won. It was a very good win for him. I mean, you really don't need to go over his first run in the UFC. I mean, again, it's 2012. He lost to Diego Brandao's last fight, or second last fight. It just, wasn't that memorable, so I'm just gonna skip that. I mean, there's really not much to talk about. I mean, he didn't do that well his first run in the UFC, and that's okay. But I mean, he started off with a 2-fight winning streak too, in 2012, but then kind of lost a couple fights. But the big thing for Daniel Pineda that I'm really high about is his run in PFL. And yes, on his record, it says that the PFL wins are no contests. Now, I don't know, the extent of this drug test. Yeah, still, I think the wins are big, though, for Daniel Pineda there. I mean, he had a win by TKO, his first fight in the featherweight quarterfinal. In the semifinal, he won by submission by guillotine against Jeremy Kennedy. Pretty good fighter over there in PFL as well. Just most recently got a win in Bellator over on, that was last one. Yeah, that was Caldwell and McKee. And yeah, Jeremy Kennedy's a very good fighter. And Daniel Pineda did win that one in the first round. In the first fight at PFL, earlier that night, he won in 20 seconds. So, again, I think very highly of Daniel Pineda. Obviously, he got the knockouts. He's very good on the feet, but he's pretty damn good on the ground, too. And we're going to talk about Cub Swanson, how this relates to his last fight, which I think y'all can probably pick up on. But yeah, I think very highly of Daniel Pineda. Over a record of 27 wins and 13 losses. Let's talk about Cub Swanson. So the Cub Swanson Kron Gracie fight was very interesting. I thought Kron Gracie was going to win. I thought his ground game, his takedowns were going to be too much for Cub Swanson. It wasn't. Cub Swanson stuffed him, man. Cub Swanson got it to the point where Kron Gracie could not take the fight down, so Kron Gracie had to strike with Cub Swanson. And, Cub Swanson at that point was coming off a 4-fight losing streak. Again, very good fighters, though. Brian Ortega, Frankie Edgar, Renato Moicano, and Shane Burgos. What the hell? But, Kron Gracie I mean, you got to give credit to Kron Gracie in that fight too. I really want to see him back in the UFC as well. I don't know when he's supposed to fight again, but in that one, man, Kron Gracie just kept walking forward the entire fight, but Cub Swanson kept piecing him together. And it was a good fight because Kron Gracie was thrown back too, but in a striking fight between Cub Swanson and Kron Gracie at this point of each one of their careers, Cub Swanson is still going to win that fight. I mean, we saw how, that happened in the Doohoo Choi fight. He won that one by unanimous decision. Did Cub Swanson, one of the greatest fights ever in 2016. Go watch that one. And same kind of with the Artem Lobov fight. Artem just kept pressing forward and Cub just kept beating him. By the way, that was the main event of not pay-per-view, obviously. You know what? I would pay for a Artem Lobov and Cub Swanson pay-per-view, but no, that was on a fight night in Nashville, Tennessee, and Cub Swanson obviously did win that fight. But yeah, I mean, Swanson's been fighting in the UFC for forever, and the levels of competition he's fought recently. I mean, Ortega, Edgar, Moicano, and Burgos. Again, we talked about it earlier. It's a very hard 4 fights in a row. And then before that, I mean, he fought Doohoo Choi, Artem Lobov. He fought Max Holloway, Frankie Edgar again, Jeremy Stevens. He fought Dennis Seaver, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, Ricardo Lamas, Jose Aldo in WEC. Dude's been fighting for forever. Jens Pulver in WEC as well. Yeah, he fought Jens Pulver. Yeah, I mean, he's fought for a damn long time. He's been fighting pro since 2004. His first fight, he actually lost in the first round in 15 seconds. By rear naked choke. Didn't know that happened. Yeah, this is a hard prediction. It really is. Cub Swanson's stand-up game is very good. And what helps him, man, is that last fight against Kron Gracie. Gracie could not take him down and uses jiu-jitsu. And Daniel Pineda in this one, yes, I think he's able to strike with him, but I think, his ground game is really damn good too. And I think it's probably the best chance for Daniel Pineda to win this fight is using his ground game. So can Cub Swanson do to Daniel Pineda what he did to Kron Gracie? Yikes, that is tough, man. I mean, I don't know. I think Daniel Pineda wins. Yeah, I mean, again, I really like the performance for Cub Swanson and Kron Gracie. And yes, Kron Gracie is very good, and hopefully if he continues fighting, I think that man can be a top 5 fighter eventually. Again, he's 32, he's got a lot of time. But I think Daniel Pineda, I think the big key in this one is, though, Daniel Pineda's striking is better than Kron Gracie's, obviously, right? So obviously Cub Swanson's, definitely able to stuff a couple takedowns from Daniel Pineda. But the thing is, Daniel Pineda, once it gets back to the feet, he's gonna have a better shot at putting away Cub Swanson than Kron Gracie did. And we've seen in the past, man, I mean, yes, Cub Swanson has rarely been knocked out. I think he's only been knocked out once in his entire career. I think it was to Jose Aldo in 2009. But I think, the entire combination of Pineda working the feet and then working back to the ground, I think it's going to be enough. So I think Daniel Pineda is going to be able to outpoint Cub Swanson in this one. So yeah, I'm going with the decision win for Daniel Pineda. One of my least confident picks in the entire card. I think Cub Swanson definitely has the potential to win this fight, obviously. But yeah, we're going to go with the Pineda decision win. All right, so now on to the pay-per-view portion of the card. We've got the heavyweights. Junior Cigano dos Santos taking on Ciryl Gane. I messed that one up. It's Cigano Junior dos Santos. But yeah, I really like this fight, man. Oh man, this is a good one. This is a really good one. I'm so pumped. Let's start with Ciryl Gane. So his last fight was Tanner Boser. He won that one by unanimous decision over on Edgar Korean Zombie over in Busan, South Korea. Right. Ciryl Gane was supposed to fight earlier this year. He was supposed to fight, I believe it was in August, if I'm not mistaken. No, it was actually in October. He's supposed to fight Ante Delisha. Delisha, he put out the fight because he wasn't getting enough money or something. That fight was set up for Ciryl Gane to run right through Ante Delisha, but I mean, whatever. I don't know where he's going to go now. I think he's going to, maybe he goes back to KSW for Delisha. I don't know, but it's not about him right now. For Ciryl Gane, his ground game is so good, man, and his stand-up game is really good too. Again, I mean, Ciryl Gane's got it all. His ground game's good. He has wins by heel hook in the past. He beat Dontel Mays. Again, it's Dontel Mays, but still, beat him by a heel hook. He has a win over Rafael Pessoa, who just got suspended for PEDs, but sure, he beat him by arm triangle. My point is, Ciryl Gane is more than just a striker, and I mean, in the UFC, he's been a grappler for the most part, right? And it's an interesting fight because no one's ever submitted Junior dos Santos. I mean, not that many people have tried because they've just tried standing with him. But yeah, he's never been submitted. I mean, he's been submitted once over in 2007, not in the UFC, right? So I think, a lot of people are talking about, well, yeah, Junior dos Santos' chin is gone, right? Can't really stand with anyone, and that's true. But, Ciryl Gane, yes, he's been fighting really well. He's a really big prospect. The thing is, he's only beat Dontel Mays, Tanner Boser, and Rafael Pessoa. Yeah, Tanner Boser's very good too, but just lost to Andre Arlovski, and you saw what happened. You know, you got the young guy, Tanner Boser, taking on the vet, the former champion, and Andre Arlovski, and look what happened. Arlovski won, right? So, a lot of people are sleeping on JDS in this one. I'm not sure who is the betting favorite. It is actually Ciryl Gane. Oh my, according to Tapology, minus 435 favorite. I am not a betting man, but what the hell? Okay, that's the thing. So JDS a plus 335 dog. Wow, okay, well that changes everything right here. That is crazy to me, honestly. I did not expect that. So, obviously, hey, Ciryl Gane, the big favorite right now. I think the biggest on the card. Yeah, probably. Other than maybe Figueiredo, but I think, yeah, that might be closer to the Figueiredo-Moreno fight. That is crazy. So, yeah, Ciryl Gane, over record of 6-0, 3-0 in the UFC. Let's talk about his opponent, the former champion, Cigano, Junior Dos Santos. So, yes, Junior Dos Santos has been knocked down his last 3 fights. I know he has, but the thing is, look at the guys he's fought, man. Rosenstruik, Blades, and Gane. 3 of the top 5 guys in the weight class right now. I mean, other than Derek Lewis and Stipe Miocic, those are the guys right there, man. I mean, they are. And yeah, obviously he got TKO'd in all 3 of them. But, I mean, he was holding his own in the Rosenstruik fight. The Blades fight wasn't doing too well. The Ngannou fight, I mean, that was like a minute long. And then the Derek Lewis fight. You know, that was a big win for JDS, man. The Derek Lewis fight over in Wichita. Gotta bring my JDS accent in there right there. But, you know, that was a big win for him, dude. I mean, worked body in that fight. He uses kicks well. Punched pretty well in the Derek Lewis fight. And I was like, well, hey, JDS, he's a fight away from the title. And if he beat Ngannou, he would have got the shot at Stipe. You know the UFC would be down for the trilogy with Stipe. It didn't happen, but I mean, that Derek Lewis fight still stands out. And that was only in 2019. That was last year, man. That was last year. He beat Derek Lewis. He was on a 3-fight winning streak with Blagoy Ivanov and Tai Tuivasa as well. I mean, that was a pretty big win, the Derek Lewis fight. And I know he's lost Ngannou, Blades, and Rosenstruik back-to-back, but the dude shouldn't be a minus or a plus 335 dog. I mean, I don't get that. Whatever. But over record for Junior Dos Santos of 21 wins, 8 losses. We know he's the former champion. We know he beat Cain Velasquez on the first ever card on Fox. Then he defended it against Frank Mir, lost to Cain, and then beat Mark Hunt, and then fought Cain again, lost, and then beat Stipe, lost to Overeem, beat Rothwell, lost to Stipe for the title, and then obviously his latest run. So, okay. It's tough here. This fight is a lot closer, like the Gavin Tucker and Quarantillo fight, like others on this card. It's a closer fight than people are making it out to be. And I know, like, people want to take Ciryl Gane because he's undefeated. He's 6-0. Yes, he's looked really good on the ground, and he's got a lot of effing power, too. We know he does. But, oh my goodness, this one's tough because I don't think JDS is as bad as people make him out to be. And yes, Ciryl Gane could go in there and knock JDS out in the first round. Would I be surprised? No, because we've seen JDS's chin in the last couple fights. So, yes, but I think JDS is going to win. Like, I can't pick against him in this one. Yes, Ciryl Gane is looking very good, and Ciryl Gane's time will come. He's only 30 years old in the heavyweight division. He's 6'5", yes. But you know what? It's Junior Dos Santos' time. Oh, I'm doing it. I'm taking the plus 335 dog. I'm doing it. I think he's going to beat him. I think so, man. I mean, no one submitted Junior Dos Santos in 14 years. I don't think Ciryl Gane's going to be the guy. And I think the way Ciryl Gane's going to have to win this fight is if he knocks him out. And I trust in Junior Dos Santos' the little head movement he still has. And I trust in his footwork. I trust in his punching power. I think Junior Dos Santos is the guy. There are levels to this, man. And, I mean, I could look like a pure idiot, because, yes, Ciryl Gane can knock him out in the first minute. I wouldn't be surprised. He's that good, too. Like, Ciryl Gane is a top 10 fighter, but I think Junior Dos Santos is just a little bit better. He's ran into the top 3 guys in the weight class not named Stipe Miocic. Or he's ran the top 4. He's beat one of them, beat Derek Lewis. I don't get people writing off JDS. And yes, if he loses this fight, if he gets knocked down the first minute, I don't want to see him fight anymore. Honestly, I think this is one of these fights where you got to prove yourself. You got to beat Ciryl Gane here. And yes, with the million cuts the UFC's making, who knows? I think if he gets submitted, I think he can still fight another one. But if he gets knocked out, you might be looking at a retirement fight. I don't know. I mean, maybe bring back Cain Velasquez one more time. But yeah, I think JDS is going to do it, man. I think JDS... Oh, it's a risky one. I'm saying he wins by decision. Oh, yeah, I think this fight goes 3 rounds. Yeah, I think JDS will outpoint him. again, I'm trusting the little head movement he's still got, the footwork he's still got, and the damn power in that right hand. Yeah, Junior Dos Santos is going to win this one by decision. I'm not confident at all, but yeah, we're going JDS. Man, I mean, the good fights just keep coming. We've got Jacare Souza taking on Kevin Holland. Just another amazing fight here with Holland and Jacare. Let's start here with Jacare Souza. So, something to note, 41 years old, he's getting up there. At the middleweight division, yeah. But still, I mean, okay, yes, his last fight against Jan Blachowicz, he went 5 rounds, split decision loss to the middleweight champion, or sorry, not the middleweight champion, that's Israel Adesanya, the light heavyweight champion of the world in his only fight at light heavyweight. Think about that. I mean, yeah, he's still got it. He's still got it. Yes, he lost to Hermanson, and Hermanson put a beating on him, but Jacare was still in that fight as well. And hey, the fight before that, Chris Weidman won that one by KO. Yes, we've talked about it before. Weidman's chin is definitely gone, but hey, he beat Omar Akhmedov. He lost to Kelvin Gastelum by split decision. A lot of people thought that Jacare could have won that one. UFC 224, Nunez and Pennington. And then before that, he beat Derek Brunson. And then before that, lost to Robert Whittaker. But now we're getting into 2017. The former Strikeforce middleweight champion, of course, in Jacare Souza. And again, one of those situations where people kind of writing off Jacare, man. They kind of are. Yes, because he lost his last 2 fights. But you got to remember, dude, it was a split decision loss to Jan Blachowicz. He's the champ. 48-47, 47-48, 48-47. I mean, if one of those scorecards goes Jacare's way, I mean, what? He's gonna fight Corey Anderson, and I think maybe Jacare beats Corey Anderson. And what you know, Jacare is going to fight Dominic Reyes for the title. Like, it's one of those situations, again, the Jack Hermanson fight. Well, yes, Jack Hermanson, short notice, or wasn't really short notice, like a month earlier, but still. I mean, it was just a bad night for Jacare. And the Jan Blachowicz fight, yes, it was very boring. Don't get me wrong, it was a very boring fight. One of the few fights where I just really, it was a hard main event to get through. I'm just gonna say that. But it was, yeah, it was pretty boring. But still, it was a close fight. I had to rewatch it, not gonna lie, but it was a close fight. And yeah, he won 5 rounds of the champ. What can I say, man? So yeah, that's Jacare. Of course, we know the ground game is good. He's never been submitted. He probably will never be submitted in his career, except for Jack Hermanson did have a really nice guillotine on him. He really did. Jacare was close to tapping. He didn't, but the Joker team was there. And then, of course, he's got some pretty good punching power as well, but the main focus in the Jacare game is the ground game. All right, let's talk about his opponent here in Kevin Holland. So yeah, Kevin Holland's ground game is very good as well, too. I mean, we've seen it before in the past. He can get submissions. And yes, he lost to Brandon Allen on the ground, which is kind of concerning, considering you're going to go fight Jacare Souza. But, I mean, the stand-up game is pretty damn good, too, man. I mean, he beat Charlie Ontiveros by slam. It was a weird fight. It was really weird. Like, Charlie Ontiveros wasn't, moving for a couple minutes. That was on Hall Silva on Halloween. That was a really weird fight. But hey, Kevin Holland got the job done. Before that, he barely beat Darren Stewart by split decision. I thought he won the fight. Before that, I mean, the Joaquin Buckley win just keeps getting better and better for Kevin Holland. Because Joaquin Buckley, of course, beating Impa Kasanganay and then beating Jordan Wright. Well, hell, I mean, he's got all the momentum on his side. Probably going to fight James Krause. I want it on the Conor and Poirier card. Hopefully that happens in January. But yeah, I mean, that's a big win for Kevin Holland now. And the Anthony Hernandez win, a pretty good win too, by TKO and Overeem Harris in Jacksonville. And then, yeah, the loss to Brendan Allen sucks. It's the rear naked choke loss on Weidman and Reyes over in Boston. But hey, I mean, he got caught. He did. And Brendan Allen's ground game is so damn good. We've seen it in the past. I mean, he's really good on the ground. And Holland just lost the fight. Then also he beat John Phillips, which John Phillips, I mean, I believe he's out of the UFC now. I don't think he's officially been released. Nope. Okay, no, he's been released. But yeah, he's been released. Lost to Hamza Shimaev and Junyoung Park. He's lost a lot. And then his other win is Alessio Di Chirico. Pretty good win too, as well, over in Greenville, South Carolina on Moicano and Korean Zombies. The only other loss is to Thiago Santos, but Thiago Santos is a top 5 light heavyweight. Also, he beat Jeff Neal over an Extreme Knockout in 2017 in Dallas, Texas, to win the Extreme Knockout welterweight championship of the world. All right. It's another really tough fight for me, though, because Jacare, yes, he hasn't been great in his last 2 fights, but he's been competitive. He's been awfully competitive. Like, Jacare hasn't lost a fight badly since the Whittaker loss, I would say. Yes, Hermanson controlled him in their fight, but, I mean, you look at the scorecards, 49-45, 48-47, 48-47. Yeah, I mean, the fight was close, was a lot. you know, the fight wasn't as close to the scorecards make him out to be, but hey, man, Jacare stood in there. And Jack Hermansson's one hell of a fighter. Yes, he lost to Vittori, but still, I'm not going to talk about that. It's a tough one, man. I still think Jacare is very good. Kevin Holland, I fought a really close fight against Darren Stewart. Man, I mean, I'm cheering for Kevin Holland in this one, but honestly, I'm going Jacare. Yeah, we're going back-to-back fights here, taking the old Brazilians. Right? I mean, because I feel like Kevin Holland's definitely gonna, if this fight stays standing, he's gonna win the fight, obviously. But I think Jacare is gonna be able to get him to the ground. I think he's gonna try to do what Brendan Allen did to him in Boston in 2019. Yes, Kevin Holland has fought 4 times since then, and he's won all 4 of them. He's trying to go for 5-0 on the year. But I mean, hell, I think Jacare's got a good. I think he's got a really good shot here, a better shot than a lot of people are giving him here. Yeah, I think he gets the job done. Now, does he finish him? No. Kevin Holland's very good on the ground. We can't just talk about Kevin Holland's ground game like he's just terrible on the ground. But I think Jacare's ground game is just a little bit better. Obviously, again, if it stays on the feet, Holland's going to win 10 times out of 10. I wouldn't say 10 times out of 10. I would say maybe 7 times out of 10. But I think Jacare's going to win. I say a Jacare Souza decision win back-to-back picks on the vets from Brazil. All right, so next up, we've got Rafael Fiziev taking on Renato Moicano. Let's start here with Rafael Fiziev. So, his last fight, he got the job done by unanimous decision against Mark DeCasey. Really good win there on Figueiredo and Benavidez number 2, of course, in Abu Dhabi in Fight Island. Yeah, pretty good win there. Mark DeCasey, another really good fighter. Obviously hasn't had the success he's been wanting recently. I mean, he just lost 1 fight, but still had back-to-back wins over Joe Duffy and Lando Venata. But yeah, overall, pretty good right there for Rafael Fiziev. And then before that, his second fight in the UFC, he beat Alex White by unanimous decision over on Ben Askren and Damian Maia over in Singapore. And then his first fight in the UFC, lost to Magomed Mustafayev, but Magomed Mustafayev is very damn good as well. Yes, he did lose to Brad Riddell most recently, split decision loss on Felder Hooker, but still, Magomed Mustafayev is pretty damn good. And yeah, Fiziev did lose that fight by TKO, a spinning back kick. And then Mustafayev finished that one on the ground. Obviously, though, for Rafael Fiziev, he is a coach at Tiger Muay Thai over in Bangkok, Thailand. So that's where he's, I would say, pretty much most well known. So he's a really good striker. As we saw the Mark DeCasey fight, he's so good at working the body. He's so good. His kickboxing is so good. He's so well-rounded on the feet. I mean, his striking is very good with his punches, and also, man, his kicks are nasty. I mean, really, just go watch that fight. The body kicks against Mark DeCasey were huge in that one. So yeah, that is Rafael Fiziev, over record in the UFC of 2 wins and 1 loss. Again, the Mustafayev loss, his first fight in the UFC, that's tough. So yeah, let's talk about Renato Moicano now. Moicano finally got back on his winning ways. His last fight over on Leo Oliveira in Brazil. He did win that one by your naked choke. That was at lightweight. This fight against Rafael Fiziev is at lightweight as well. So the second fight here at 155. I mean, if you want to go through his 145 run, he fought so many good fighters over there. I mean, he beat Zubair Tukov by split decision, and then he beat Jeremy Stevens by split decision. Then he lost to Brian Ortega. Then he beat Calvin Kattar, beat Cub Swanson, lost to Jose Aldo, and lost to the Korean zombie Chan Sung Jung. I mean, those are pretty tough fights over there, man, for Moicano. And then he finally decided to go up to 155, and he got that last win again. And Moicano's ground game is excellent. Obviously, I mean, he has 7 wins by decision, 7 by submission, and 0 by TKO. But I mean, Moicano obviously going to want to take the fight to the ground. And we've seen before when he's tried to stand with Jose Aldo and with Chan Sung Jung, fights didn't end up too well for him, right? So Fiziev here, of course, we know about his tremendous stand-up game, but also from Moicano, dude, Moicano's ground game is where he's going to want this fight, obviously. So again, it's one of these fights. It's a styles fight. Will Moicano be able to take the fight to the ground? If he does, I think he's going to win the fight. But if Fiziev can keep the fight standing, I think he's going to be able to win this one. I think Fiziev can work the body and tire out Renato Moicano, but that's very hard to do. Oh, man, another really tough fight, man. All right. I'm going to go with Rafael Fiziev to get the job done in this one. I think he's going to be able to do it. I think all around, man, I think, again, it's going to be one of those fights. Can Moicano keep it on the ground? Can Fiziev keep it standing? I think Rafael Fiziev's going to keep it standing. I think he's going to win this fight by decision. I think he's kind of going to do kind of what he did to Mark DeCasey, work body, and then keep working his way on up to the head. And yeah, I think we're going to go with the Rafael Fiziev decision win. Again, if Moicano takes him down, he'll probably win the fight, but I think Rafael Fiziev's got this one. Oh man, the co-main event of the evening, Tony Ferguson taking on Charles Oliveira. What a fight. Oh, man, this is so good. I mean, Ferguson coming back after that title loss against Justin Gaethje, and then Charles Oliveira coming off that big win over Kevin Lee in the main event on the last card before Rona hit. Oh, man, this is a good one. This is a good fight. All right, let's start here with Charles Oliveira. So, his last fight against Kevin Lee, very good win for him. I mean, he won the fight in the third round, got the fight to the ground, won that fight by guillotine. And obviously, Charles Oliveira, I mean, the submission wins. You gotta talk about it. I mean, he's tied for the most finishes in UFC history. If he finishes El Cucuy, which is very tough, he will break the record that Donald Cerrone and Oliveira do share right now. And yeah, I mean, he's on a big winning streak. He is on a really big 7-fight winning streak with wins such as Clay Guida, Jim Miller, Nick Lentz, Jared Gordon, and Kevin Lee. Obviously, Kevin Lee's a little bit better than all those guys, but still, it's a pretty big winning streak. Last fight, he did lose UFC 218. He did lose to Paul Felder. Got hit with a big elbow in that, or no, Felder knocked him down, and Felder got him with the elbows on the ground. It's a different Felder fight I was thinking of with the spinning elbow, but still, yeah. Charles Oliveira has been fighting in the UFC for a damn long time. He's been fighting since UFC Live Jones versus Matyushenko, August 1st, 2010, San Diego, California. He won that one. He fought Darren Elkins, by the way, by armbar, so there's that. But yeah, I mean, of course, Charles Oliveira's been fighting for forever at this point. And yeah, I mean, it's finally his time. He's finally getting a shot. He's ranked, I believe, number 8, if I'm not mistaken. He's pretty damn high right now in the rankings. And he gets Tony Ferguson, the former interim champ, who, again, was on a big winning streak. It's Charles Oliveira's finally his time to get a big name. And with the win, he puts himself right in the title picture. Obviously, with Charles Oliveira, his stand-up game's not bad, but I mean, it's the ground game, obviously. I mean, the ground game is so damn good. We saw in the Kevin Lee fight. I mean, he can lock in a guillotine at any point in the fight. He can lock in a submission at any point in the fight as well. So yeah, I mean, that's Charles Oliveira. Again, I can't emphasize enough. The ground game is insane. The submissions are insane. The jiu-jitsu is insane. But the problem is, Tony Ferguson's really good on the ground, too. He really is. So yeah, let's talk about El Cucuy. So, of course, yes, Ferguson's last fight was tough. Justin Gaethje, it's a really tough fight for him. I mean, Gaethje was just the wrong guy at the wrong time. It's just that simple. Gaethje's the better man on that night. Pure domination. It won fight of the night, but I mean, we can say it. Pure domination by Justin Gaethje. He won that fight by TKO in the 5th round. Before that, Tony Ferguson beat Cowboy Cerrone. Got the job done by Dr. Stoppage. I've talked about the fight like 5 times already on the channel. But yeah, I mean, this was a good one for Ferguson. Nothing less, but even without the late hit in the 2nd round, it's a very good win for Ferguson. He was probably going to go on to win that fight 2-1 in the 3rd round. And then before that, in the fight in UFC 229, the Anthony Pettis win. I mean, one of the best fights in a long time, the Anthony Pettis fight. That was a very good fight. Again, another corner stoppage, though, on that one. A win for El Cucuy. Before that, he fought for the interim lightweight championship. He beat Kevin Lee by triangle choke in the 3rd round, and then, again, never got to fight for the title again until the Gaethje fight. Interesting scenario there. And then, of course, the big winning streak. A bunch of fighters on that list. Josh Thompson, Edson Barbosa, Groovy Venata, and Rafael Dos Anjos are among the bigger names out of that pile. And then his last loss before the Gaethje fight was Michael Johnson in 2012 on UFC on Fox. That would be Nate Diaz versus Jim Miller. Yes, that is a throwback right there. And of course, Tony Ferguson is the Ultimate Fighter Season 13 winner. That was Brock Lesnar and Junior Dos Santos. Tony Ferguson did win that season. And yeah, it was a pretty good win right there. Pretty good. I mean, it was all around. I mean, Tony Ferguson was the guy in that season. He finished all of his fights by KO. I mean, I went and rewatched. Someone made a highlight compilation of each Ultimate Fighter show, and yeah, I mean, that was Tony's season, man. He just dominated. I mean, again, the four finishes, the 4 KO finishes, and all 4 of his fights, absolutely insane. Yeah, for Tony Ferguson, over record of 25-4. We know the ground game is great. We know it is, and we know the stand-up game is great too. Like, it's honestly, how do you beat this guy? Well, okay, Justin Gaethje. I mean, Justin Gaethje was basically it. Ferguson didn't want to take the fight to the ground because he knew how well, just how good of a wrestler Justin Gaethje was too, and he really just wanted to stand with him. And I think that's the way you beat Tony Ferguson. You have a better striker than him. Now, who's a better striker than Tony Ferguson in the 155 weight class? Well, we have got Justin Gaethje, we've seen it, Conor McGregor potentially, and I'll put Dustin Poirier potentially in that conversation as well. We know Justin Gaethje, for the most part, is a better striker than Tony Ferguson. Now, Conor and Poirier, who knows? But I think Conor is a little bit better of a striker than Poirier, if we're going to keep it honest with ourselves here. But, I mean, yeah, that's, I think, the way you beat Tony Ferguson, and I don't see Charles Oliveira doing that. Yes, Oliveira's stand-up game has gotten a lot better, but is it on the level of Tony Ferguson? No, it's not. Is his ground game better than Tony Ferguson? Potentially, yes. I think it is. But all around, I think Ferguson's so good on the ground, he knows he's not going to get caught in a submission. Yes, Oliveira might be able to take him down, but can he hold him down? Maybe not. And if it gets to the ground, well, Ferguson's really good off his back. I mean, Tony Ferguson's really good off his back. The rubber guard for Ferguson, he doesn't pull it often, but he's really good down there. And so it's like, do you really want to be on the ground, Tony Ferguson? His elbows, man, slice you open. I mean, we saw that in the Pettis fight. Ferguson fights a crazy fight style, and yes, I think Charles Oliveira is very good, but I think it's just too big of a step up for Charles Oliveira. I think Tony Ferguson is going to win the fight. I think he's going to. I say finishes him. I'll say a TKO finish for Tony Ferguson, 3rd round. Again, I wish this was 5 rounds. It should be 5 rounds. Unfortunately, it's not. But it's a really good fight, man. The people's main event here. And I'm excited because, yes, Charles Oliveira, maybe he comes in there and shocks everyone like Justin Gage did against Ferguson. But it's going to be a different path to victory for Charles Oliveira. He's going to have to take this fight to the ground. If he stands with Ferguson, Ferguson's going to eat him alive. So, yeah, that's that. We're going to go off the 3rd round TKO finish for El Kakui. As for his next fight, man, I don't know. I mean, honestly, there's multiple guys he could fight. I still think Khabib's done. And I think the winner of Poirier and McGregor is going to fight Justin Gaethje. So, for Ferguson, man, I say either Dan Hooker, Michael Chandler, or just wait for the title. Those are the options. So, yeah, that is Tony Ferguson. Let's now go on to the main event. It is time for the main event of the evening. Once again, the UFC Flyweight Championship is on the line between Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. The title is back on the line. I mean, hey, we gotta talk about it. UFC 255, both of these guys did fight on that card. And Deiveson Figueiredo got the job done in the main event. But earlier on that card, there was Brandon Moreno in a very good fight against Brandon Royval. It was on the prelims, it shouldn't have been, but whatever, it was on the prelims. Hey, I'll be the first to admit, I picked Brandon Royval, but Brandon Moreno got the job done. Yes, Royval got injured in the fight, but it was a pretty impressive performance for Brandon Moreno. He won on the feet, won on the ground, won everywhere in that fight. And yeah, I guess while we're at it, let's start here with Brandon Moreno. So yeah, the Brandon Moreno win against Royval was huge. Before that, the Jussier Formiga fight over in Brazil and Leo Oliveira. That was a very good win for him there. I mean, that really elevated him to get the title shot or get to the number 1 contenders fight against Brandon Royval. And then the Kai Kara France win, another big win for him, man. On unanimous decision on Colby and Kamaru. And then before that, he had a draw against Askar Askarov, but Askar Askarov is very good, and he should be next up for the title, too. He's undefeated. He's 12-0-1. So, I mean, that just shows you how good Askar Askarov is as well, man. And then he beat Mikel Perez over on LFA, 69, that's pretty nice. But, yeah, he got cut from the UFC, which was weird, and this one the UFC was cutting flyweights. Brandon Moreno went to LFA, picked up the LFA Flyweight Championship, and the UFC was like, hey, yeah, you want to come back to the UFC? And then Brandon Moreno came back. And now he's on a really big 4-fight unbeaten streak in the UFC. I mean, he got cut for losing to Sergio Pettis in a main event of a fight night in Mexico, and then he lost to Alexandre Pantoja in Santiago, Chile, like on the main card, and they cut him. Okay, I guess it's on the undercard, but still, like, why? I don't get it. And then before that, it's not like his UFC run was terrible. I mean, he beat Luis Smoka, beat Ryan Benoit, and beat Justin Ortiz. He was 3-2. Again, the UFC was cutting flyweights. It was a weird time, but I'm really thankful this division is back because the division is better than ever. And Brandon Moreno was on the Ultimate Fighter, did lose in the first round. He was the number 16 seed in that one. He lost the number 1 seed, which was Alexandre Pantoja, and they rematched him. Pantoja beat him again. But yeah, Brandon Moreno, over a record of 18 wins, 5 losses, and 1 draw. We know the ground game's good. He's never been submitted, but he has 10 submissions on his record. He has 3 KOs, and we saw in the Brandon Royval fight, yeah, he can get the job done on the feet. Brandon Royval is a very good striker as well. But man, Moreno's wrestling so good. The problem is Deiveson Figueiredo has got quite the guillotine. We saw in the Alex Perez fight that, man, he can just lock one in as soon as possible. But man, I mean, the wrestling of Brandon Moreno is very good, though. His wrestling is so damn good, where that might not matter, right? So, I don't know. It's such a tough fight to call. Again, don't sleep on the stand-up game from Brandon Moreno, but definitely I would say Deiveson Figueiredo's his striking is way better than Brandon Moreno. All right, let's talk about the champ, Deiveson Figueiredo. I mean, first off, props to Figueiredo and props to Brandon Moreno too for fighting this soon after. I mean, they just fought 3 weeks ago, and we have another title fight. Incredible. props to both men, but especially Davis and Figueiredo for putting the title on the line, just like that. I believe it's the first time ever a UFC champion has put the belt on the line in 2 consecutive pay-per-views. It's huge. Hey, maybe he'll go fight Conor McGregor in January. That's not happening. But yeah, I mean, Figueiredo, the Alex Perez fight was huge. I mean, yes, Perez looked pretty good for the first minute of the fight, and then, yeah, Perez went in for a shot. Figueiredo caught him, guillotine, fight over. The dude's got one hell of a squeeze. And yeah, the Joseph Benavidez fights, yes, we've talked about them before. He's very good on the feet. He's very good on the ground. I mean, again, we've talked about Figueiredo multiple times here on the channel. He's got power. He's got the most power out of any flyweight in the UFC and probably UFC history. Yes, Demetrius Johnson had a lot of power too, but I mean, Figueiredo's got way more. We know he does. And yeah, I mean, he's only lost one fight. It's the Juicy Formiga fight, which was in Nashville, Tennessee. It was just last year, too. It was in 2019. Feels like forever ago, right? But he did lose that fight by unanimous decision. But, man, Juicy Formiga for the longest time was at the very top of the weight class. Now he's on a 3-fight losing streak. Yes, he lost to Benavidez, Moreno, and Perez, but still. Yeah, I mean, the funny thing about that one is if Formiga lost to Deiveson Figueiredo then, we would have got Figueiredo versus Joseph Benavidez over in, I believe it was Minneapolis, on the Dos Santos and Gane card. Probably Deiveson Figueiredo's probably won that fight like he did twice in real life. So then Juicy Formiga, by losing that fight, would have then got a title shot because Cejudo vacated. It was a weird process because Figueiredo basically got the shot at the title. Yes, he won a couple fights, but he got the shot at the title because he lost to Formiga, because Formiga got fed to Benavidez first, but then Benavidez, of course, could never win the title when it mattered. But hey, Benavidez is gonna fight Askar Askarov. Very tough fight for Joey B, man. But hey, if Joey B wins that one, and I hate to say it, if Brandon Moreno wins on Saturday, and Joseph Benavidez beats Askar Askarov, I think Benavidez is next up for the title again. Right? He's the guy. Yes, maybe Cody Garbrandt, but hell, I say if Moreno wins, Benavidez is back up, dude. He's back up for the belt. Oh man, how do we get to this point where Joseph Benavidez is a fight away from the title again? Again, there's a shot. Again, I don't know how many Joseph Benavidez fans we got out there, but if there are some, there you go. But yeah, I mean, Deiveson Figueiredo, the power is there, man. The submission is there. The jiu-jitsu is there. He's so good all around. And also, man, he is a hairdresser and a sushi chef. And he's an MMA fighter. And you know, the UFC tells us his sushi is really good. He's got really good sushi. I'm just saying. And also, I mean, Walid Ismail is the best manager ever. Like, dude, Walid is the perfect WWE manager for Deiveson Figueiredo. Like, I saw Ariel Helwani calling for Figueiredo to learn English. I mean, sure, have him learn English, but keep Walid as his manager. Walid does an incredible job for Deiveson Figueiredo. Like, Figueiredo will answer a question, talk for about maybe 10 seconds, and then Walid will come in with like a 5-minute promo cutting on all the flyweights. He'll talk crap about Demetrius Johnson. He'll talk crap about Brandon Moreno. He'll talk crap about everyone. Garbrandt, until he'll just kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Walid's very good, man. I like Walid. And yeah, honestly, I'm a fan of Deiveson Figueiredo because of Walid. Yes, Figueiredo's a fun fighter, and I'm a big fan of his fighting abilities too. But I mean, Walid, man. Walid's great. But yeah, I mean, again, stop talking about Walid Ismail. Let's talk about the fight. It's a tough one because yes, Brandon Moreno could take the fight down and take down Deiveson Figueiredo, but do you want to be on the ground with Figueiredo? Well, I think I'd rather be on the ground with Figueiredo than be on the feet because Figueiredo's power is unheard of for flyweight. And I think I think Brandon Moreno is the best shot at winning this fight on the ground and avoiding the Figueiredo submissions. And yes, we know Brandon Moreno's wrestling is very good, and he uses his punches to set up his takedowns, and his striking is pretty damn good. It's gotten a lot better as well too, right? I mean, we obviously know Henry Cejudo is going to be pulling for Moreno. That's his guy, right? Didn't want to coach Pantoja in the Ultimate Fighter in that fight against Brandon Moreno. And yeah, I don't know. It's another tough one. I gotta go with the champ, though. I think Deiveson Figueiredo is gonna win this one. I mean, I have to go with the champ. We saw in the Alex Perez fight, yes, Perez was moving forward, and then all of a sudden, fight's over just like that. 1 second is over. Locks in that guillotine, it's over. The Joey B fights, both of them were pure domination by Deiveson Figueiredo. Both of them were. The first one, I mean, I think one of the judges gave, I think 2 of the judges gave the first round to Joey B, but still, it was a close fight, the first one, until the knockout. The second fight with Joey B was pure domination by Figueiredo. and I think he's gonna get the job done too here. I think he's gonna beat Brandon Moreno. Now, how he gets it done, I think he knocks him out. I think he wins by TKO. I think that's how it happens. I think Figueiredo, we haven't talked about it. We don't know how good his takedown defense is, because all we've seen out of Figueiredo for the most part, when someone shoots on him, he'll go straight to the guillotine. And yes, that was technically a takedown defense, but we really haven't seen a conventional, I mean, I guess we'll go pure wrestling, pure basic sprawl out of defense to figure out, because his guillotine is so damn good, his jiu-jitsu is so damn good. So, like, again, does Brandon Moreno want to have the fight on the ground? I would say yes, but you can't count out Figueiredo's jiu-jitsu as well too. So yeah, I think Figueiredo's gonna win this one. I think he wins by TKO in the second round. I think he'll get out of the first. I think it'll be more of a feeling out process in the first round. I think Figueiredo puts them away in the second. Nothing less though. This is gonna be a really fun fight here. This entire card, man. Again, we're down to 10 fights now. Hopefully we don't lose any more. Please. Hopefully we don't lose any more fights, especially the last two. And yeah, I'm really excited for this one. Actually, please don't get rid of JDS and Gane too. I really like that fight as well. But yeah, folks, that'll do it here for our 59-minute long, almost an hour long video here on UFC 256, Deiveson Figueiredo and Brandon Moreno. I am so pumped for this card this Saturday night, live on pay-per-view, the final pay-per-view of 2020. And yeah, just if you made it this far, just tell me what you think of the new format. Again, we'll see how it goes with everything, but yeah, just tell me what you think of the new format. Again, folks, thank God for watching. Make sure to subscribe button down below for more, and Mamba forever.